Welcome to the Guy Who Knows a Guy podcast. I am your host, Michael Whitehouse, the guy who knows a guy himself, and we are recording live to tape at Podapalooza number 15. Because over the last 5 years, I've had the privilege of meeting and learning from thousands of entrepreneurs, experts, and awesome people, and now I leverage that knowledge to help my clients cut through the junk and focus on just what they need to achieve their goals. And my next guest is Rob Goyette. This is someone who I have known before. He's actually been on the podcast before. He's been on my summit stage a few times. You may know him as the creator of Fast Revenue Laser Coaching. You may know him in other capacities supporting coaches. We're going to speak briefly about laser coaching, but what we're really going to be diving into today is his automated webinar format, where I think he's really thread the needle between the challenge automated webinars. On the one side, why should I listen to it? I can listen to it any time. And on the other side, the solution is often the like live. Oh, yes, it's happening right now, which, isn't true. And his solution threads right between those. But first, for the 6 people in the audience who don't know what laser coaching is, tell us a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk a bit more about the automated webinar format.
Sure. So my audience is coaches, and the laser coaching model is something I came up with back in 2015. I was looking for a way to get more clients, and I was asking myself, what would be just a super irresistible offer for my potential clients? And I thought, well, what if they had unlimited coaching calls? I thought, well, that's cool, but that could really fill up my calendar and get expensive. And I thought, well, what if they were only 15 minutes? And I kept refining it. And what I came up with was a grand slam offer of $997 for a full year of unlimited 15-minute laser coaching calls. Now, what kept it reasonable is that inside the program, there's a homework rule saying that clients must do their homework before they can schedule their next call, because I knew otherwise people would just fill up my calendar. And yeah, it was so irresistible that during the first year that I released it, I had over 50 one-on-one clients sign up. They paid $1,000 before even talking to me. The guarantee is if on our first call, either one of us feels like this isn't a fit, I'll give you your money back. And the first call is 30 minutes. I only refunded one person. I'm pretty sure it was my idea, because a year later he signed up again and I had to refund him again. Like, that guy really wanted to work with me, but yeah, I couldn't help him. But yeah, what keeps this reasonable and helps coaches earn about $500 an hour doing this unlimited thing is that because of the homework rule, the average client has 7 or 8 sessions over the course of the year, which is crazy. I was very nervous. Some people would have 50. I think maybe I had 1 or 2 that had like close to 20 sessions, but some only had 1 or 2. The average was between 7 and 8. So I like to look at laser coaching as a great way to get paid to build trust and rapport with your best prospects, because during the laser coaching relationship, they trust you more and they're open to your higher end offers, especially if they can apply the price of the laser coaching to that offer.
Ooh, yep, that makes a lot of sense. Very powerful. Now, so is that generally part of an existing framework? Like, do you have a 19-step plan, so you're working them through that? Or is it just in the course of coaching, it's clear to you as the coach, like, hey, the next thing you need to do is get your
Yeah,
book
so this is
online?
for coaches who they know their audience and they know how to help their audience.
Okay.
In our course, we talk about creating a results model, which are the steps you're talking about, usually between 5 and 9 steps. And it's great for selling coaching, and it's great for delivering coaching and making sure it's consistent. We also talk about scaling your business and adding more laser coaches. And if they're all working from the same results model, then your clients are getting consistent results.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, so I know the way that you sell, you have a program that teaches laser coaching, and the way that you sell the program that teaches laser coaching is a very effective automated webinar format. So tell us about that and how your automated webinar is different from other automated webinars.
Well, I love how you said thread the needle, because automated, right? It's an automated webinar. That means you can watch it anytime. But if you can watch it anytime, it's not that special. So posting it to YouTube isn't going to work. But if you lie to people and say it's only, we're live and it's only at this date and time, then you're lying to people, and that hurts trust. So the way to thread the needle, I like to say at the beginning of my webinars, is I like to be very transparent. This is a pre-recorded presentation that's being broadcast at the date and time of your choosing. So I'm not here live, but if you have questions, you can put them in the question box and we'll get back to you quickly. That, I think, covers all the bases and maybe threads that needle.
Yeah, I like that. And the The on-demand concept. Now, also, so a typical webinar is like 7.5 hours. No, it's like 90 minutes because they're trying to get people in and pull them into the, through the sales process, which often feels more beneficial to the seller than the buyer. But your webinar is not 90 minutes.
No, my current webinar I think is 27 minutes. And I'll tell you, for a live webinar, it probably needs to be longer because for an automated webinar, I suggest you have a script and you stick to your script. With live, speakers tend to go off on tangents and also interact with the audience. Hey, everybody type yes if this or that. Well, yeah, we don't do that in the automated webinar. In the automated webinar, there's basically 3 parts. There's the beginning where you share content to build trust. There's the end where you share your offer to sell stuff, your irresistible offer. But in between is the transition. And that's the part that I think a lot of people struggle with, especially coaches. We're great teachers, but when it's time to sell, it becomes a little uncomfortable or awkward. How do I go from teaching this stuff to saying, now I want you to give me money? And the answer is a smooth transition by explaining why you're selling something. So I might say, I would love to work with each and every person who watches this presentation, but I simply don't have the time, so I created an online course. And the name of my course is blah, 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 blah. So you're giving a reason why. And when people hear that reason, their defenses go down. If you don't say why you're selling something, they think, oh, you're just trying to get my money.
Okay. Yeah, I like that why. And that transparency is powerful. That's something I found, you've probably found as well, is that if I'm going to sell something, I tell them I'm going to be selling you something. There's going to be an offer. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because they feel like, oh, I'm going to get sold. But if you tell them up front, there will be an offer, you're going to get to decide if you want to take advantage of the offer or not. Then people say, oh, okay. All right. So not like, what's coming up? What do I need to do? I need my finger on the leave button so I can get out of here before they try to sell me?
Yeah, mine's a little different. I don't say up front I'm going to sell you something. A lot of people assume it, but I teach the great content, and I say the reason why I'm about to sell you something is for this, and I say the name of the program. But what I teach, I don't hold back. I'm very transparent on how to do laser coaching. So a lot of people watch it and they never pay me any money, and they go out and they get laser coaching clients. But usually when that happens, I don't know about usually, I don't have stats, but often when it happens, I've noticed that they make money from the laser coaching, and they're like, wow, maybe the course is going to help me even more because I give them swipe copy and support and review their offer and blah blah blah. Yeah, so I throw in a lot of bonuses to add to the value of simply teaching coaches how to do laser coaching.
Yep. And I think it also helps the pricing model with your laser coaching program. I think it takes 2 clients to break even.
Yeah, correct. So the course is 2,000. They get 2 clients or 1 client who renews. They paid for the course. In fact, if you do anything like this, and I'm talking to everybody watching, if you help people sell something that, how do I say this? Here's what I'm trying to say. I say that you can use laser coaching you can use my course to get as many coaching clients as you want. You know what? It is my nap time, actually, so I am fumbling a little bit, so I apologize. Let me start over here. You don't have to edit it. But here's what I say is the course pays for itself with your first 1 or 2 clients, and you can use the material in the course to get as many clients as you want. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what I love about it, because one of the challenges that I see sometimes in the coaching industry is when they're selling these models, one issue is lack of transparency. So it's buy the amazing contents of this box. What's in it? Who knows? For just $5,000 and there's a box. And then you don't really know what you're going to be learning or how you're going to be learning to do it. And then people might buy it and discover it's not aligned to them, or or sometimes they don't find it to be ethical. They don't find it to be moral, or it's just not a good fit for what they're doing, but they've spent this money. And so I love the concept that you're telling them how to do it. You're giving them the full recipe to figure it out themselves. Even giving them the tools to maybe go get 2 clients. Now, of course, we're assuming they know how to coach, they know how to serve clients, they know how to help them, that's up to them. But they can go out, sell 2 clients, and then say, okay, now how do I do this right? How do I get 20 more of these? I got 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me get the actual program. But I love that concept that you're helping someone who doesn't have 2 nickels drubbed together could take your webinar and say, oh, yeah, I can do that. Okay, let me try cobbling that together.
Yeah, and it happens that way. So yeah, it feels good, right? Because how do I say this? I'm sorry, I'm kind of laughing because I'm more tired than I normally am because I'm an early morning person and I'm 4 hours ahead of LA. But here's what I'm trying to say. I am trying to say that, oh boy, it just fell out of my head. I'm sorry, Michael. Whatever you just said, if you want to say it again, I'll respond to it. But otherwise, we can keep moving on.
Yeah. Well, I was basically saying that it seems like I'll take another direction. That seems like we're really in alignment on this, like wanting to help people. Because one thing I found in the industry is a lot of this is like, oh, you're just getting started? No problem. Just take out a credit card, put $10,000 on it, and take my amazing program, and what's in the mystery in the box might help you. And so one thing I'm focusing on is launching programs to help people get started from zero. Help them earn the money to buy my next level program instead of telling them to go borrow it. And your webinar does the same thing, that it says, hey, here's how you do it. Now, not all the details, not the copy, not the website, not all that, but here's enough you can figure out the concept. You could cobble together roughly what I'm doing and figure it out. And that you're not like, no, it's my proprietary formula, nobody can have it.
Yeah, and that reminds me what I was going to say, which is basically, it doesn't cost anything to help extra people, right?
Yeah.
And so sharing the information with as many coaches as possible, a certain percentage of them will be able to afford to work with us. And and those are the people that typically buy our stuff, but it's great to help other people. And they'll tell other people, wow, Rob's webinar is amazing and he gives away this whole model. So yeah, it just feels good to be abundant.
Well, and that's the deal. Like, somebody goes to your webinar, they copy your format, and it works. And they're telling some friends, like, have you heard of Rob Goyette? He's a laser coach. I just went to his webinar, copied what he did, didn't even buy the course. And I, made $3,000. And now I think I might buy the course. Because, but now they're going to tell their friends because, how often do you go to a webinar? An automated webinar, no less, and come out of it with actionable information. I think that's key. And I think what you said about it feels good to be abundant. I think that's a key thing. That the more, as Bob Burg says, I think it's called law of value. The more value you create, the more money you make.
Okay.
And not necessarily aligned.
I do have 2 automated webinar tips that I'd love to share if I may.
Yes, share the tips.
Okay.
Let's get some tips.
All right. So one of them is that I highly recommend you give away a valuable attendance prize to get people to register for your webinar, to come to your webinar, to stay till the end of your webinar, and to go to your sales page after the webinar. If you offer this really valuable attendance prize and you say, register for my webinar, you'll get this. And then on the webinar at the beginning, you say, remember, when you stay till the end, you're going to get this thing. And then at the end, you say, if you still want this thing, all you have to do is go to the sales page and it's down at the bottom. So then they go through your sales page and see your offer. You can also say, and if you decide to go for the offer, you don't need to look for the attendance prize. I'll automatically send it to you. That prevents people from making sure they don't get, miss the free thing and then they don't pay for something. But the cool thing about the attendance prize, we have people order it instead of just clicking a link and getting a PDF. That lets us identify who those people are that registered, attended, stayed till the end, went to the sales page. They did everything except for buy. These are your hottest leads. These are the ones to follow up with. So that's one tip I wanted to share with you, was the attendance prize. May I share one more?
I would love one more.
Okay. This tip caused a 50% increase in the number of orders we got from our automated webinar. What we did is we had people, stay till the end and then they go to the sales page. And then if they left the sales page, as they started to leave, we had an exit intention pop. But the thing that was so powerful about this was the offer of that pop-up. That pop-up said, if you don't need the bonuses, you can get the course for half price. People understand half price, less than a dollar amount. And so we saw a 50% increase in the number of people who bought something, but they didn't get everything. So it's a 25% increase in revenue, but it was a 50% increase in the total number of customers or buyers. We've since then refined it, and now if they choose to get the course without the bonuses, they see a big red X over all the stuff they're missing out on, and a nice little easy order bump that lets them put the bonuses back in. So if they start to buy it without the bonuses, they can put a little check mark there and say, actually, I realized I don't want to miss out on all this stuff. And so we boomerang them back to the full offer. But that exit intention pop has been just phenomenal.
Well, and what I love about that is we all know the concept of anchoring price. If you say it's 10,000, but it's really 5,000, and that makes the second price sound lower. But if you don't have a reason, then it's just, made up
Yeah.
numbers. Be like, hey, it's 50% less than this number I made up. But if you say there's all these bonuses, and then you say, well, actually, the bonuses are half the price. So they're not really free bonuses. That's half the bundle we're giving you. But if you don't want the bundle, that's cool. You can just get it. It makes it make sense. And that's one of the power, that's one of the things I learned early in sales. If you ever lower your price, you have to take something out. Otherwise, it's why didn't you give, wait, you were going to rip me off before, but now you're not going to rip me off? But if you take something out, then it makes clear. Yeah, I love that concept.
And vice versa. I like to say, if you're going to raise your price, add some value. So like it's the same concept, but the other direction. So yeah, in fact, I will say that like we found that adding laser coaching to our online courses allowed us to charge an additional $1,000 for them.
Yep.
And the reason I knew laser coaching was such a great bonus is we were selling a course for $1,000. We bumped it up to $2,000 and included laser coaching. And we said, there's a payment plan for this, but if you make the full payment in one payment, full amount, we'll give you 2 years of laser coaching instead of one. Every single person who bought paid the full amount, which is almost unheard of when you're selling an online course and you have a payment plan. Almost everybody takes the payment plan. But in this case, everybody paid the full amount because they really wanted that extra year of laser coaching. And what was shocking to me is the 2-year clients had about the same number of calls as the 1-year clients.
Yeah, because at the moment to purchase, they want as much as possible, and then the same phenomenon occurs that they forget to book their calls and whatnot. Yeah, and that's something I love about laser coaching is it's got that gym membership model.
Yeah.
As I was explaining to someone, I said, when you're paying $1,000, what you're not paying for is the accountability. So you're not paying for me or you to say, hey, Rob, I haven't heard from you this month, because that costs $3,000 extra for me to remember that you haven't had a call. Yeah, $1,000 is
I love that
you're addressing.
I love that you're addressing that, because some coaches feel like it's manipulative to say, well, I'm going to get them as laser coaching clients and I know they're not going to have that many calls. Ha ha ha, that's evil. Well, it's not if you explain up front. The reason the price is so low is because the accountability is on you to do your homework and schedule your next call. And like you said, if you want to pay me more money, it's like going from a gym membership to a personal trainer.
Yeah.
I will show up every week and make sure you show up and get stuff done. But if you want the bargain price, the accountability is on you.
Yep. And I see with laser coaching, it's only one pay. They have to pay in advance.
Right. If you do it monthly, people won't be motivated to make their payments if they're not having the calls as often.
Yeah.
It's like if you owned a gym and could charge people a year up front versus having them pay every month where they could quit paying for any reason. Yeah, it's much better to charge for a year at a time.
Yeah, no, I love that concept. And one thing I like about your style, and I've had the opportunity to interview you this week. You're on a summit last week. So I've had a lot of Rob Goyette over the last 2 weeks. And one thing I've been more and more as I've gotten into the industry is discovering the difference between the authenticity, the people who are there to give, and more the like hard business here to take sort of mindset. And when I first got in, I was like, am I just really naive and soft-hearted? Am I just a Care Bear wandering into this? And then I realized, no, I was just talking to the wrong people. And so it's very refreshing to meet people who are leaders in the industry who are very much committed to giving. And as a business, it's like, you're not doing this just because you're generous and altruistic, although I'm sure you are. You're doing it because it's good business.
Yeah, it's true. A quick story is I got started in the coaching industry because of my friendship with Christian Michelson. Like I was friends with him before he really kind of rose up, and I joined his team. I was on his team for 7 years, and I said, "Hey, Christian, you're doing really well selling to coaches. There's this whole other group of people out there, internet marketers, that could really benefit from your stuff." And just stereotypically, internet marketers are a little less heart-centered than coaches. And what Christian said was like, coaches, they just want to help people, and we need to show them that it's okay to make money. And then he paused and he said, and internet marketers oftentimes, they just want to make money, and we need to show them that it's okay to help people. And I thought that was brilliant. Yeah. So of course, it's not exactly that way, but it's two different worlds. And so, yeah, so you picked up on that. Yeah, the coaching industry is a very heart-centered group of people. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. And you can definitely see, and of course, there's a lot of internet marketers who sort of cloak themselves as coaches. And And so I think that's kind of where a lot of people run into trouble. And I think one of the challenges, of course, the internet marketers, they're really good at internet marketing.
Yeah.
So when you first stumble into the industry, the heart-centered coaches you're not going to find them first. You're going to find the ones with the really strong Facebook ad campaigns, the ones who have a team of 93 people who are scouring Facebook. So you
Yeah.
poke your head up in any group, one of their people's like, "Hey, ooh, I got someone you should talk to. Come join our group." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. What is your advice for someone who's just getting started early in the industry, or they're early in their business, or they've been stumbling around for 3 years, so they're still early, but they haven't actually made progress? What's your advice for someone who is trying to create a business? Maybe they don't even know exactly what their offer is. They just know they have, like, they want to give, they want to help, they don't want to be in corporate anymore. And what's your advice for them?
Yeah, well, it's not to go create an automated webinar. That's for when you know what you're doing. It's probably not even to offer laser coaching unless you know how to get results for people. Then it's great. So if I was just getting started and I knew I wanted to coach and I didn't even know who I wanted to work with and I couldn't figure it out, I would offer accountability coaching. I would offer to work with people who already knew what they needed to do. They just wanted someone to keep them accountable. And I would start to work with those people. And we've proven a model that you can charge $500 a month for. Excuse me. Yeah, that's correct. $500 a month for. Yeah, and then as you start to work with people, you'll notice who you enjoy helping and what they have in common, and also you'll benefit from their discoveries along the way. Oh, I figured out here's how I could lose some weight, and you might think, oh, I can help other people lose weight thanks to my experience being an accountability coach for these clients. So that's where I would start if I had no idea where to begin. But the sooner you can identify a niche, who you serve and how you serve them, and really figure out how to get results for a group of people who most easily trust you, you can make a lot more money, even laser coaching, than accountability coaching. So yeah, I recommend trying to get that stuff figured out early on.
Yep. But yeah, I love that concept of accountability coach, because you don't have to know anything. You just have to know how to. It's at the start of the call. How did your goals go from last week? Because you said your goals were A, B, and C. How'd you do? How you doing A? Okay, good. How'd you do on B? All right. How'd you do on C? Great. So what are your goals for next week? All right, A, B, C, D. And what are you going to do to make that happen? All right, good. Sounds like you got a great plan there. All right, talk to you next week. And
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We refined it a little bit. Like we have an official model, which is like if they didn't do it, lovingly coach them so that it doesn't happen again and
yeah,
stuff like that. But yeah, but you're right. Just showing up, if people know what they should be doing and they just need someone to hold them accountable, yeah, it's very straightforward.
yeah, yeah. I had a someone who's working with me. He was actually just doing it as a friend. Yeah, I wasn't paying him. But he's like, yeah, I want to help you out. Let's get on a call. Let's do an accountability call every week. And I'm like, sure. So every Monday, 9:45 a.m., I had to get on a call with him. And probably a third of the time he'd cancel because, I wasn't paying him, something came up, whatever. And
Yeah.
it was just as valuable if he canceled, because before I got on the call, I had to put together what had I done the week before, what were my plans for the next week, and he canceled. I'm like, it's all good. I just had a meeting with myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once he wasn't able to work with me anymore, I stopped doing it. Like, I could have just said 9:45 is my personal accountability call, but I'd be like, oh well, no one's gonna make me do it, so I guess I just won't do it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it can be so powerful. It's just knowing you have to get on the call will give you accountability. And I love that, because anyone who's heart centered can
Mhm.
do that accountability, and you don't need to know anything other than how to listen and take notes and keep those notes from one week to the next.
Yeah, it's really true.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches, they start off buddy coaching, kind of like you did with your friend. One perhaps better way to do it than just coaching each other is to
Mhm.
invite a third person, and A helps B, B helps C, and C helps A. That way, I don't know, it's kind of like an authority thing. I'm the coach, you're the client. Well, if you're coaching each other, then those roles just get mixed together.
Yeah.
But if I'm always your coach and you're always somebody else's coach, and that I'm the client to that other person, like, yeah, the ABC model
That's what you want to do
can
too.
can
Yeah.
really be helpful if you're trying to like practice coaching or buddy coach. Try to do it with 3 people instead of 2.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think the other thing that's great thing about the accountability coaching is it creates that activity. So instead of just taking another course and going to another summit, reading another book, and watching another video, you're actually working with clients, and so you're hearing what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you don't like. Because you can do, navel gazing research for 100 years and still never have a business.
Yeah, very true. And probably the easiest place to find clients is the people who trust you, and that's typically your contacts. What you can do is go into your sent items folder of your email or look inside your direct messages on social media. But if you look through your email and you look through all your emails, there's a lot of stuff that won't matter. But if you go into where you've actually emailed someone, from you to them, your sent items folder, that's a much shorter list that you can go through and try to identify people that you have a relationship with. Then you can reply to the most recent email that you've had with them to kind of put things back in context and tell them, hey, I'm starting out this coaching program, or maybe it's accountability coaching, whatever. But your sent items folder is a great place to look for clients.
That is an awesome concept. All right. Well, this has been a great interview, as I knew it would be. So glad that we got back on. When I saw you on, I'm like, he was just on the podcast last week. I don't know if I want to be on my podcast, or just on the summit last week. I don't know if I want to be on the podcast, but they showed up. It was great. So excited. I'm going to create a link, a simple link for the laser coaching that people can go to, which will be guywhoknowsaguy.com/laser, because as Kimberly told us, it should be simple and memorable. So I assume you probably don't have one that tags me that's off your site that's simple and memorable. So
mine is a guy who knows a girl. Is that okay? I'm kidding. No. Yeah. What?
But yeah, so
what I did want to say though. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
Yeah. So they go to guywhoknowsaguy.com/laser. That will take them to learn about both the things you talked about. They will see an automated on-demand webinar which teaches laser coaching. So it is the deeper dive of everything you talked about today, except the accountability concept. That'll be in the show notes. But since no one ever looks at the show notes, it's guywhoknowsaguy.com/laser.
And let's spell laser for people, because a lot of people use a Z, but there's no Z. So it's LASER. Just in case you're tempted to hit that letter Z, it's LASER. So
yes.
guywhoknowsaguy.com/LASER.
Yes, laser. Yes, that is true. Yeah, it's laser if you're like cool, especially if you have like an 80s vibe. That's with a Z. But laser, like focus light, that's with an S. For S for sophisticated.
There we go.
All right. Well, thank you, Rob. It's been great to have you on here.
Thank you, Michael. And I don't know if people realize it, but today's your birthday, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes, I'm recording an entire season of my podcast on my birthday. So,
all right. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks,
everybody.